Good evening, everyone, and welcome to another webinar by FOSI Integrated Communicators. Our topic for today is Brand Right, where you will learn how to protect your business's identity from being stolen. Well, before we begin, I'd like to tell you a little bit more about FOSI Integrated and what do we exactly do. So FOSI is a 10-year-old marketing communications agency based in Dubai. We support small businesses, startups, and entrepreneurs to manage their marketing functions. Now, being a marketing agency, we also make sure that our ideas help your business gain the momentum you desire, and they also help us build strong relations. Now, the main agenda behind this event is to create more awareness about the new products or services that are exclusive in the market. And through these webinars, you also get an opportunity to have a connection with our experts and hence build a good relationship with them. Well, in today's webinar, it's specifically beneficial for those businesses who are willing to protect their creativities from being stolen. So before getting started, there are a few house rules which are to be followed. All participants are kindly requested to be on mute. Commenting is strictly prohibited, and if you have any queries, there will be a Q&A session at the end of the webinar. So you are always free to put all your questions in the chat box, or rather unmute yourself and ask them. So well, in today's webinar, we have two experts with us, and our first expert is Ms. Anupama Parker. Well, I don't really think she needs an introduction because she is a brand herself. So over to you, Anupama.
Thank you, Nishita. Can everybody hear me?
Yes, I think you're fine.
Great. Thank you. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Anupama, and just as Nishita said, that I don't require any introduction because I'm a brand in myself. Now, that's when I look at myself and say, what a brand I am. If I don't require an introduction, that means now Mr. Walid can actually give me advice on if I can trademark myself. Well, just to give you a brief idea of what I do and why I myself call to be a brand is my experience of the past 20 years in branding and marketing. I'm the founder of FOSI Integrated Communicators, and we are a marketing communications agency helping small businesses, solopreneurs to take their brand, their business to the next level. Today, what I'm going to talk so specific about, and that specific thing is, of course, nothing but the brand. Now, how many of you have not looked at brands? We always do look at brands. And when we look at brands, we look at things that are a little bit more lifestyle, more electronics, more FMCG, more retail, because those are kind of come in our day-to-day life. We get exposed to this kind of entities on a regular basis. So let's start with thinking about what brand really is, what makes for the brand. And when we're talking about brand, is that just limited to a product or a service or a company, or is it something more? And to wrap up this session, of course, we have another expert in-house, and that is Mr. Walid, who is going to talk about how we can protect this brand. So let me start by sharing my screen. Just give me a thumbs up if you can see my screen. Okay, thank you very much. Today we're talking about how to create a trademarkable brand. Trademarkable in the sense is that once you become famous, once you have put in your time, money, and efforts into creating something, how to safeguard it. But to safeguard something, it needs to have value. So how do you build valuable brands? That's what we're going to look at. Let's start by defining what a brand is. Well, a brand is a graphical representation that represents a product, a service, a company, or a person. So you have product brands, you have service brands, you have company brands, and you have personal brands as well. Now just imagine a scenario. I was introduced as Anupama, and this is the face that you see. It's a visual representation of who Anupama is. This is the photograph. This is the face that defines Anupama as Anupama. Now, I cannot show you Nishita's picture and say this is Anupama, right? Because her values, the system that she is built on, are completely different from what Anupama is. So Anupama and Nishita are different. So you cannot mix them. You have some specific identities around you in terms of your physical appearance, in terms of your character, in terms of your behavior, in terms of your emotions. And that exactly defines or differentiates others from you. So hence, this graphical representation, when extended to a company or a product, yeah, that what brings in the differentiator. Why is it so important to brand a product, brand a service, a company, or a person? First and foremost is to create an association. Just as I said, when you look at me, you know I'm Anupama. So Anupama and my face as an association. You recognize me by that name, right? This face is recognized by the name Anupama. When Anupama starts interacting, the two things that she says, the way she behaves, the way she dresses, can be an element where people can actually have a high recall value, or you can become memorable. People can associate you with that name, with that character, and recall as and when necessary for them. So you get a recall value, you have a memorable attribute to your aspect. And most important thing is the perception. The perception is about the other party. What do your customers, your clients think about you? Or what is the other party that you are exposing yourself think about you? How do they perceive you? Do they think Anupama is honest? Anupama is trustworthy? Anupama is cheat? Anupama is a fraud? Well, all those perceptions are associated with this visual representation. So now you know why brands are important and why they should be created. Because every business, when goes through this association, recognition, recall, and perception, that's what exactly makes your customer come to you, buy from you, and not only buy, but create a long-term relationship with you. So that's what the importance of brand or branding is. Now let's talk about, when you're talking about the visual, let's talk about the visual elements. What is a visual? If this is Anupama, I take a photograph of her, right? Yeah, that becomes a visual element of Anupama, an extension of Anupama. Likewise, you create logos to go in sync with your company, your product, your service, or your sell. If I had to show you just the emblem of HSBC, you would know it is HSBC, right? They have created a logo to encompass anything and everything that they do as a business and serve their customers. It encompasses all their offerings, their value system, everything in that single logo. And that's what we call a visual representation of a brand. That is what brand is all about. So a brand can be of different types. It can be a symbol, it can be textual, it can be a color, it can be a message. It can be just anything that you want to, but then at the end, it should relate, it should sync with who and what you want to show to your customer. Remember, it's all about the customers at the end of it. Now, there are a lot of things that go into building a brand. Brands just don't happen overnight. Brands are created brick by brick. They say Rome was not built in a day, and so do brands. Brands are not built in a day. For creating a brand, you require a lot many things. Now, when I'm designing a logo as a creative agency, yeah, there are many things that we take care of. There are many things that we look at even before starting the task. And many times what happens is the business owner will come to us and say, I don't like this, I like this is not happening, this is not done. This is not my color, this is something else that I want to do. Well, when you look at a logo, it's just not what you like or what you think is going to be good. There are a lot of other things that go with it. As I said, there are symbols, there are text, there are colors, there are messages that are aspect of the why my screen is stuck. Thank you. When we're talking about different types of logos, we're talking about symbols, we're talking about text, we're talking about abstracts. There's a few examples that we put together just to show you the differentiation between a symbol, between a textual logo, and an abstract one. If you see symbols, like, can anyone identify the logos? Yeah, Apple is almost kind of known worldwide. What are the rest? Mr. Walid, can you unmute yourself and tell me? Oh yeah, okay. Shell, yes. We have Apple, we have Shell, we have Twitter. We don't use Twitter much here in the Middle East, but yeah, Twitter is there. The textual logos are more of font-based, like Amazon, Gillette, Netflix. I love those logos. And then you have abstract ones, wherein it's not necessary that you have anything specific associated with the company to be a part of the logo, but they use shapes, some abstract aspect, abstract element to make sure that whatever they want to convey to your audience is being conveyed. Another aspect now we come to is when we are creating trademarkable logos or trademarkable brands. We have to start from ABC. You just can't create a brand and give it to Mr. Walid and say, okay, trademark it for me. The trademarking aspect does not start that way. You have to do a lot of homework beforehand. And the first thing is, of course, even before you start designing the logo, you need to know about yourself. That means about if you're designing a logo for your product, service, or a company, you need to know your business well. You need to know what is your positioning, who your target market is, what is your geographical location of transaction. So you have to know the basis of your business. And if you have done your business plan, you've done your due diligence, you've done your homework, you absolutely have put all those things in your business model canvas, right? So you know your marketing plan very well. That's the beginning where you start talking about the 4 Ps and you know your product or service better. Once you've defined your business aspects, it's about pushing it into the next level. And that level is about defining your brand personality. A brand, at the end of the day, has to elicit specific emotional responses from your audience. Can I trust him? Is he honest? Is he truthful? Is he fun? Is he authoritative? What exactly is your brand? How do you push it into the market with the right perception, the right tone, voice, right colors? Because each aspect of this kind of gets people to associate you with some definite adjective or an adverb to define your personality. So you need to make efforts to put that personality metrics in place. And once you've done that, it's then the part of the designers, the creative people, to design your identity or your visual graphical representation likewise. Once you have done that, once you're finished doing your logo, it just doesn't end there. It's about comparing it with your competitors. Because you have to stand out. And one of the most very important aspects of a competitive market is that how different you are from the rest. What is your differentiator? What is your USP? And that needs to stand out from the others. Your direct competitors are, you have to stand out. You have to be face that is of reckoning. Once you have done a competitive analysis in terms of your visual identity, then refine the concept till you are satisfied. Because each and every aspect, the color, the text, the emblem, everything is going to make a huge impact in the long run. And that's how you kind of communicate the value of your business to the market. We started about, or courses started about 10 years ago. And when we started off, we thought we knew everything and we are the master of all. So we came up with a logo. And when we put it up everywhere, what we realized is what we loved, unfortunately, our target audience didn't understand. I love the red color. So I put my logo red. The company name was 4C. So I made sure there's a graphical aspect to the logo which talked about 4C. But people just wouldn't grasp it. And the ice-breaking question always was, is your company name Integrated Communicators? No. It's 4C Integrated Communicators. And from there on, we realized how important branding itself is to start off from the beginning. A lot of business people come to me and say, oh, we are just started off. We don't need to spend so much on the branding. But my friend, that is the basis of every communication as you move forward. And if your ABC itself is not right, how can you actually write an essay? How can you actually communicate a proper message? So a year later, we revamped our logo, which is showing up on the right-hand side, for 4C Integrated Communicators. And that itself became an ice-breaking question. Because now, instead of asking, is your company name Integrated Communicators? My market, my prospective clients were asking, what does 4C Integrated stand for? I can understand it's the 4C and different the spacings that we put up as a logo. But what exactly does it mean? And we have a story to support it. And that's our message to the market. So we have a symbol, we have a text, we have an abstract element to it, and so do we have a message connected with it. And this is how 4CA has been communicating for the last 9 years. It's not about what I want to tell the audience or my market. I have a lot of things to say, but then it is what my clients, my prospective market would perceive from this visual identity. Well, that's about everything I can talk about in terms of building a brand. But after you have built a brand, what happens? You need to work on it to make it valuable by a lot of different business aspects that you offer to your clients. It's a delivery, it's a product, it's a service. It's how you transact the entire business. And when this value starts building up, you need to save it and safeguard it to such an extent where it becomes an asset to your business and to your brand. Can I have this closed, please?
Yeah, 1 second.
Thank you. So once you have built a valuable brand, what happens? Safeguarding it becomes a priority. But that safeguarding has to start from the beginning itself, not once it has become $1 million brand. Even when we started building that value, your safeguarding elements, aspects need to dribble down into the brand as well. And to talk about that, we have our second speaker. For his introduction, I would hand over now to Madam Nishita. And any questions regarding the branding or brand itself, I'll take at the end of the session. Over to you, Nishita.
Thank you so much, Anupama, for this amazing idea and also your thoughts that you told us that how important branding is really for everyone's business. So now, next, I would like to introduce Mr. Waleed Jaman, who is an IP specialist and at the same time a business development manager. So while he holds more than 20 years of experience in this industry, and he has also worked with various IP agents across the entire UAE. He has also been an exclusive trademark examiner with the UAE Trademark Office. So now he will be telling us more in detail about the different ways to protect your business's identity and how to protect it from not being stolen. So without wasting more time, I would request Waleed to take this forward.
Thank you so much, Nishita, for the introduction. I like it. Thank you so much, Anubama, for the introduction about the brand and how you have to design your brand and make your identity first associated with the type of personality, the identity of yourself, and etc. Thank you so much also for giving me the chance to talk and educate other people, other entrepreneurs, how to protect their brands. Actually, Anubama started with the designing of your identity, which will be the association between you, your business, and your clients. Okay, now you have already designed your trademark or your logo, your brand, you can say. When you say your brand, means that you have to go to the next level and make it a trademark. And when you make it a trademark, you have to go for certain process to protect it on legal grounds and legal factors. Okay, so now what is the entity, what is the authority that protects trademarks in United Arab Emirates? Actually, when you have designed your brand and you have chosen the right brand which will serve your business, whether you are having products or services in the market, then the United Arab Emirates Trademark Office is the proper authority that will protect your brand or your trademark. Okay, now, why should I protect my trademark? Because in UAE, there's a trademark law and enforcement of trademark law is very strong. And it started in 1992 by issuing the trademark law in number 37 in 1992. And after that, this trademark law has been amended as per the regulations, as per the progress of businesses all over these years. And recently, there was an amendment for this law in came through the Federal Decree number 36 of 2021. Okay, now the question is, how shall we protect our trademarks from possible violation? Now we have created a design by an Obama, by Foresee Integrated Communicator, and they have chosen a very unique brand which is associated with your identity, associated with your business, products, services, all these things. So first of all, you have immediately to launch the business and try to protect your brand even before you launch the business. You have not the right to stop the innovation by keeping innovating a new and unique, very simple, and at the same time very distinctive trademark, which is attractive to your customers, to your target market, to your people whom you are going to associate the brand with. And while designing your trademark, you have to give evidences while innovating your trademark. And this evidence should be kept. Why? Because after some times, you may need this evidence for any type of violations against other infringers. Okay, so when you get this step in ground, what will happen? So you are punishing those copycats. You are punishing them by getting the right steps for your innovation, which is your logo or your brand. And one thing you have to keep in mind that please avoid joint ownership for intellectual property rights. And intellectual property rights, as we know, the trademark is one of these pillars of the intellectual property rights, which is considered as the umbrella of intellectual property rights, because we have patents, we have copyrights, we have designs, and trademark is one of these pillars. So keep it for yourself, keep it for your company. Don't make other companies associated with your brand and with your trademark. Every time you have to create the awareness of the importance of the intellectual property and secured rights for your trademarks and brands, and keep this awareness among your employees first. Definitely, you don't like anyone to copy your brand. You don't like anyone to infringe your brand. So put your shoes in the same manner. People do not like their brands to be copied or infringed. So every time, think about creating and innovating a new design which is not infringing or not copying other businesses or other ideas that already are in the market. So be creative and make sure that IP, which is intellectual, is owned in a way that allows further development. As we heard the story of Obama and how she started with her trademark. She started with her trademark with a symbol or with the logo that allows her to make it adjustable for certain stage of time. And she created another design for that. Isn't it an Obama? So keep your brand possible for new amendments in the future, because do you think that Etisalat, they started with the same logo? Definitely not. They started with a logo which is, I think, like an eagle or some bird. And after that, they created another logo which is like a heart, or we can see it like a heart. But now their logo is totally different, as shown by the logo presented by an Obama. Okay, so you have also to draft a very strong non-disclosure agreement, especially with people who are dealing with your brands, with your innovative, with your creative, because maybe sometimes you have to prove that you are the sole designer or the sole owner of this brand. And finally, but not it is not like finally, but the last point, but there are lots of points. Every time try to consult the experts, the intellectual property experts. It's not only you, it's not only business you are providing, or the only brand you are providing. There are lots of brands, there are lots of innovations in the market. So try to consult intellectual property experts, because they will give you the proper advice. Don't think that you know everything about intellectual property. Now you are in the process and you want to start your business. So decide about your classification. You have designed the logo. You have taken steps of lots of factors, which we have mentioned, about 10 factors that you have to take into consideration. Now decide about your classification. You created this brand for what? What classification, what business you would like to apply this trademark on? So there is one classification called NICE classification of goods and services, and this is an international classification which classifies the products and services that you can apply your brand and go to the trademark office and apply for the protection of your brand. Okay, look at this picture. How many classes do you think? We have lots of can you share some ideas in the chat box, what you can see here? So we have lots of categories, lots of classes. We have cosmetics. Yes, that's right. What else? Okay, you can share your okay, luxury goods. We have, like, for example, spare parts. We have clothes. We have services related to cargo, construction, aviation. So FMCG, yes, that's right. So lots of classes, lots of business categories. Even we have pharmaceuticals products here. Okay, and we have like food products. So there are lots of classes. Let us see how many classes there are. There are 44 classes are included in the international, or in the NICE international classification of goods and services. Out of these classes, 34 are classes related to goods, to the products, okay, to the physical elements of the products. 34 classes, and the other remaining 11 classes are related to the services. For example, if we have banking services, we have aviation services, we have medical services, all these services are fallen into the category of the services. Now, when you decide about your business, you have decided about your class, you have already thought about going to the trademark office, to the UAE trademark office, and you want to apply for your trademark. It is always advisable to conduct a trademark search. And why? Why we conduct a trademark search? We have decided about the class. I will go for cosmetics, for example. I will apply my new design or my new trademark on cosmetics. So I will go for class, for example, 3, which covers the cosmetics products. And I conduct a primary search. Why? Because I want to be clear that this trademark has not been filed before. This trademark has been not taken by another entity or another company. Then I will be secured when I file this trademark. It is free for registration. So this is a precaution step to conduct a trademark. Okay, I am launching a new restaurant, and I will cover my trademark on restaurant. Then I have to go for trademark office and do the search on class 43, which is the category of restaurants providing food and beverages. Okay, so this is one step. Okay, what is the other step? The other step, if it is free for registration, I apply the filing process and I present my logo or brand and I present my list of products or services. Then after that, when the application is filed with the trademark office, there will be 2 options. Whether when they examine the application, when they examine the trademark, whether they will accept and they will send me an acceptance notice, or they will reject and they will send me a rejection notice. Okay, so what will happen if they send me acceptance notice? Then I have to go for publication. I have to publish my trademark with all the information, my company name, my class, the address, all these particulars I have to publish in the trademark journal. And what is the reason for publication? It is for informing other people that, okay, I have applied for this trademark. If anybody interested to oppose me, he is free to oppose. So I have 30 days opposition period. Okay, what will happen if my application or my trademark is rejected, or I have received a rejection notice? Then I have 30 days to file an appeal. And when I file an appeal within this 30 days, I have to prove that I am the only owner of this brand, maybe by providing long-term use of this brand, by providing registration in other countries, by providing evidences of creation of the mark with third party when I made the contract to design the trademark. Okay, and it is about the trademark to decide whether to accept your appeal or not to accept. But if the publication period is gone without any opposition by third party, what will happen? Then I have to pay the final fees and get the certificate of registration, and I enjoy the ownership of my trademark. Okay, now what is the importance of protecting my intangible asset, which is the trademark? First thing is, your trademark, the brand, is considered as an intangible asset that can be monetized. And whenever you want to sell, buy, franchise, and do anything, we will talk about it in the last part, then you will get a royalty out of it. You will get the return on investment out of it. So when you register as well your brand or your trademark, what will happen? You will be considered as the owner of the brand or the trademark in legal form. but make sure that you have to use your brand within 5 years, like in continuous ways in 5 years. Otherwise, it will be considered non-usage of your trademark, and then other parties, they can take legal action against it. And there is lots of scenarios out of it. It is not the time to talk about it. And also, you will prevent others from using the same name, logo on particular goods or services, because you have already applied the trademark to the proper authority, the trademark office. You get a certificate of registration. You have gone with the normal steps, the legal steps for protecting your brand. You can take action immediately with proper authorities in the UAE if you find someone imitating or infringing your trademark, by taking action through the trademark office itself, through the customs departments, through economic department, or through the court. And there are lots of like legal steps to be taken in each and every with each and every authorities. What will happen also when you register your brand? You will create sort of innovation and encourage fair competition, because when you create a new brand, you are encouraging others to create much more better brand than yours. And this will also create a sort of flourishing in the economy, because today we will see Etisalat, tomorrow coming due. What next? There will be another company coming with a new innovative brand and logo. And when you register your brand, you will fight against counterfeits in the market. Why? Because they will become aware that your brand is protected, and when it is protected, you can take legal action, whether through the trademark, the customs departments, economic department, or by court. So you cut the way on infringements. Okay, who can register his brand? Lots of companies, as we can see. Pharmaceutical companies that can register their brands because they have lots of brands, cosmetics, perfumes, detergents, companies who have apparels, footwear, headgear, companies who are into lubricants, companies who are into oil and gas, companies who is dealing with electronics, automobiles, spare parts, household apparatus, company dealing in luxury jewelry, personal care products, bags and accessories, companies who are into services like restaurants, like cafes, hospitalities, aviation, cargo, etc. And you can name like almost 45 classes of different business activities, whether related to products or related to the services. Okay, now each trademark is considered as an intangible asset, and we have to take into our consideration that intangible asset can be monetized. How? When we register our trademarks, the return on investment is very important. We can license our trademarks to other companies and we can get royalty, we can get money out of our licensing, and we can franchise our brands to other companies. They can use our identity, business identity, as the same. And we have lots of franchisees all over the world. And they also take the advantage of getting the royalty and the return on investments on their intellectual property rights, especially on brands. Okay. And also, at the end of the day, if I want to sell my brand or trademark and transfer the ownership from my company to another company, I can assign it to another company, or I can do sort of acquisition or mergers with other companies, and also I will get the return on investment on my intellectual property right, which is my trademark and logo.
So I hope everyone enjoyed the session and you all got to learn something really good out of it. And thank you once again. The link will be sent to everyone personally on their email IDs of the entire recording. So, well, thank you so much. Have a nice weekend.